Okay, let's see this. Open rebuke of Jessie Martinez of BibleLine Ministry. This guy's at the airport. This guy never like just sits in his office or whatever. You know what I mean? He never does that. He's always doing something else. And he just picks up his phone and starts talking into it, man. So dumb. I know. Look, you feel like you're getting stupider, you're gonna get stupider now watching this stupid video, man. But anyway, we're not gonna get stupider. We're gonna get smarter. We're just gonna realize how stupid they are. But it is true. Like you feel like your IQ is going down when you listen to these people. Since he has to make a video every day, you probably run out of ideas and thought to make a quick video. Maybe, or I think maybe because I kept the pressure on like Fuego and them. Like even though they kind of took down the pressure on me because they were taking down those videos. AVS took down the video of me, but then I kept going the pressure on them, so I think they felt the need to like attack me again. Like AVS put the video back up of me. That's why I made the stream this morning. But then this morning he took it down, so it's weird. So they're weird, man. They're weird. Yeah, I know. I'm the same way as you. I'm the same way like that page. I liked him for a while, and then I realized he was weird, and I just unsubbed. Did Gregg cook Jessie? Gregg cook Jessie here? That's interesting. Yeah, I know. The Jack Smack video, you will not learn anything from him. Yeah. I know what you mean, Boofa. Boofa's posting a video every day. Yeah, Gregg wasn't bad in this vid. It's wrong. When are you going to do Greg Jackson week? Yeah, that's coming up.
One time.
All right, let's hear this.
Hey guys, hope everybody is having a good one. Wanted to respond to a video that I just saw by Jessie Martinez. And Jessie, I hope you're watching this because in your video, you made a number of false statements, false accusations, which I think that you need to publicly apologize for because last time I checked, bearing false witness is not Christian.
Their main beef with me, JLY, is that I just point out their heresies and they don't like it, you know? They act like they never did it. They just pretend they never did it.
Just made a list of them, and I'm going to put your video in the description box for any of my subscribers who would like to hear everything that you said in the video, just to
he's verify. Literally at an airport page. Literally, this guy just literally will never do work like a normal person. He just always has to do it like when he's doing something else. When he's doing his other things, he'll like take 5 minutes to, or what? Actually, he'll take like half an hour to make a video on his phone, and then he'll just go back to whatever he's doing. It's so dumb.
But you basically accused me and David Benjamin, Petrus Renatus, sniffing out Pharisees, of very rarely talking about the gospel, which is laughable. I heard he took it down because he had videos on there disagreeing with David Benjamin. Because his new channel, there's no videos disagreeing with David Benjamin. And he used to disagree with Benjamin on the James thing, but now he's in full agreement with him on that. So make of that what you will. I don't know. Over 2,000 videos and posts on both of my channels. One with 14,000 subscribers, and this one that has 2,000 plus subscribers. And virtually every day for the past, I think, going on 7 years, I've been sharing the gospel. And you say you don't even know if we're... No, well, what Jessie was saying is that David Benjamin doesn't share the gospel, which is true. Like you'll hear his long rambling videos. He barely ever talks about how to get saved or whatever, you know. We're clear on the gospel, and then you contradict yourself at the end of the... I'd say he's not a Pharisee. Like he's not works-based or anything, but he's definitely incorrect. And he is kind of works-based because now he picked up the David Benjamin view of 1 John.
I think. I'm not actually. I haven't seen that for sure. I know he picked up the David Benjamin view of James, so he thinks James is like wrong on the gospel or something. But I don't know what he thinks about the First John thing. If he thinks that about First John, the First John hate your brother thing that David Benjamin teaches, that's a false gospel. That's a Pharisee works-based gospel.
If we're clear on the gospel and then you contradict yourself at the end of the video by saying, well, they're right on the gospel, but they're wrong on how to live the Christian life. And that we're charlatans, we're frauds. And let me clarify for you. I don't know how many videos of mine or David's or Petra's or Sniffing Out Pharisees that you've seen, but all of us are 100% correct on how to live the Christian life.
He's gonna talk about it. He's gonna talk about it. Like they have some kind of concept of rewards. This is not the same as we have, so he'll explain it here. But what he's saying now is that they have the absolute correct way to live the Christian life, and we don't. All the rest of us, like the vast majority of free gracers and also the vast majority of Christians in general throughout the entire history of the church, are all wrong except for these guys.
Pharisees that you've seen, but all of us are 100% correct on how to live.
Yeah, I think Jesse's not like fully. I don't know. I feel like Jesse should do more research before he comments on these things. But I agree. Like, yeah, Jesse mischaracterized them, but I don't think he was doing it on purpose. I think he really thinks that. He just doesn't really have a firm grasp of all their doctrines.
I don't know how many videos of mine or David's or Petra's or Sniffing Out Pharisees that you've seen, but all of us are 100% correct on how to live the Christian life, which can easily be found in Galatians chapter 3, verse 11, Romans chapter 1, verse 17, Habakkuk 2:4, and Hebrews 10:38. The just, or justified, shall live the Christian life by faith. And that is what we teach, what the Bible teaches, not by going back to the works of the law for the perfecting of the flesh, which is Galatian error, which unfortunately is what you teach and what Yankee Arnold teaches.
So they're calling that Galatian error. The very idea that you should do good works for sanctification or for your Christian walk is Galatian error.
Back to the works of the law for the perfecting of the flesh, shall live the Christian life by faith.
So they're just taking a few scriptures out of context to make this whole doctrine. You know, it's like ridiculous. What he just said. He's just taking like I don't know, Romans 1:17, I think it is, and then Galatians I don't know. It's Galatians 3 something, right? The just shall live by faith.
Or justified shall live the Christian life by faith. And that is what we teach, what the Bible teaches, not by going back to the works of the law for the perfecting of the flesh, which is Galatian error, which unfortunately is what you teach and what Yankee Arnold teaches. And you're the one in error. We're not to go back to the works of the law for the.
God bless you, brother. Thanks for your encouragement. Appreciate it.
Perfecting of the flesh. And unfortunately, what you're really upset about is you're the one in error. We're not to go back to the works of the law for the perfecting of the flesh. And unfortunately, what you're really upset about is that we expose the Galatian error that you teach. And you're not alone. Unfortunately, the vast majority of those who teach that, well, you're saved by grace through faith and you got your ticket to heaven, but you got to earn God's favor. You got to earn God's fellowship. You got to earn blessings and rewards. And by the way, you said incorrectly that we don't believe in rewards and things of that nature. That is a blatant lie.
So I just want to say, like, look, he's based his whole doctrine right now on 3 verses taken out of context, okay? His whole little doctrine of the Christian life, right? Which, I mean, there's like so many scriptures about obeying the commandments, living like you know, like or like I don't know, like
Oh man, there's just so many. It's so many. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. He's got 3 scriptures out of context. That's his whole basis for this ridiculous doctrine. He's trying to say everyone, the whole church has been wrong since Christ died. Wow.
Is that we do receive rewards at the Bema seat for all those things that Christ has done in and through us as we yielded to him in faith, and that those things will last for all of eternity, and that any...
Okay, so now they're saying, I mean, they didn't say this before. They didn't. They now are saying this, that they receive rewards at the Bema seat for those things that Christ has done through us in faith. So when we have faith in Christ, Christ will work through us, do good works, and then we will be rewarded for those things.
crowns that we receive, we will cast at the feet of Jesus, but that ultimately Jesus is our shield and our exceedingly great reward.
So that, okay, so the crowns thing, look, there's only one thing about the casting the crowns at the feet, I think in Revelation chapter 5, I believe, or 6. But this thing he's saying now about like
that we receive, we will cast at the feet of Jesus, but that ultimately Jesus is our shield.
I don't know. I think what they mean, I don't know exactly what they mean, right, Quad? But I think I've heard them hint at the idea that you're supposed to like continually live in the notion that you're saved, rest in that idea, and then by continually like preaching the gospel to yourself and remembering your position in Christ, Christ will use your faith to supernaturally cause you to do good works and not sin. That's the idea.
Just chapter 15 verse 1 says. So that's a blatant lie to say that we don't teach that there are rewards.
See, that's probably why he got rid of his channel, you know, because if you go on his channel, you'll see all kinds of different talk about these different issues, you know. And he doesn't have time to go through all his videos and make sure which ones are teaching it right and which ones are teaching it wrong. So he said, okay, I'm just going to start again, you know, because he knew that he had to come in line with David. He's gonna join the cult even more now or whatever. He's going to like fully sign on with David. So he needs to clean up his thing. Maybe that's why. I'm not too sure.
You also said that.
The reward thing. Yeah. The thing about the exceeding great reward is Genesis 15. God says that to Abraham. And now God says that to Abraham, right? And they're saying that means that Jesus is our reward. Because God said that to Abraham in Genesis 15. Therefore, Jesus is our reward. It's so foolish and ridiculous, dude. It's just dumb. Like, God, I don't know. I don't even know where to begin on how dumb this is.
Teach that James is a false teacher and that James should be thrown out of the Bible. And I would bet that if you went through all of my videos, you would never hear me say one time that James isn't that James is a false teacher or that it should be excised from the Bible. That is a blatant lie. Or even to say that James wasn't inspired. What we all teach.
I'm on the fence, but I'm not that on the fence. I've always kind of assumed he's a shill. I don't really know or care that much, but because although I often accuse people of being shills, you'll notice that I always point out their errors in their doctrine, right? Like, whether he's a shill or not, the fact is that he's teaching this heretical stuff, so therefore that's my problem with him. You know, I assume he probably is a shill though, because that thing that you know how back in the day he used to be on like NBC doing this weird political stuff. I'll show you some of that.
Is that James teaching, you know, faith without works is dead, which you're quick to bring up. Even the demons believe, and all these other verses that people twist and distort and use out of context doesn't supersede or exceed Paul's teaching. Paul, super apostle Paul, who received the gospel directly from the Lord Jesus Christ, who penned half of the New Testament. And what we've said is that James didn't specifically in his book that was, the first book written, years before.
Yeah. He used to be on TV, like shilling his stupid book, his stupid, like 50 things liberals need to hear from conservatives or some stupid thing like that. It's so dumb.
Paul even didn't Jesus Christ, who penned half of the New Testament.
What was he saying? Sorry, I kind of lost track of what he's saying here, so I'm gonna rewind a little bit.
James, you would never hear me say one time that James will teach that there are rewards. You also said that we teach that James is a false teacher and that James should be thrown out of the Bible. And I would.
So yeah, Jessie shouldn't have done that, because it's not wise if you're gonna like criticize somebody's doctrine, right? It's not wise to exaggerate or mischaracterize what they're saying, because then they come out and just say, look, we never said that, we never said that, we never said that. Then all their followers are just like, oh, look, these guys are falsely accusing our boys, so they're a bunch of idiots, and then they won't listen to you. So when you go after these guys, you have to very carefully point out in their actual doctrine what is it that's wrong and exactly what it is that's wrong. Don't just say stuff out of your head, you know?
I would bet that if you went through all of my videos, you would never hear me say one time that James isn't that James is a false teacher, or that it should be excised from the Bible. That is a blatant lie. Or even to say that James wasn't inspired. What we all teach is that James teaching, faith without works is dead, which you're quick to bring up. Even the demons believe, and all these other verses that people twist and distort and use out of context doesn't supersede or exceed Paul's teaching. Paul, the super apostle Paul, who received the gospel directly from the Lord Jesus Christ.
The super apostle. Paul's the super apostle, and the other apostles are just like, they're just regular Joes, yeah?
Penned half of the New Testament. And what we've said is that James didn't specifically in his book that was, the first book written, years before Paul even received the gospel from Jesus himself and went to Jerusalem. If you read, if you compare James to Acts chapter 15, the Acts 15 council, Acts 21 and 23, and you do a comparison, you will see that James at the time wasn't as clear on justification. It's not to say he was a false teacher.
So this is so dumb, man. Once again, of course we know, right? Like James does say in Acts 15 that he gave no such commandment to the Gentiles before this dispute in Acts 15. He gave no such commandment that they should follow the command, like the law or whatever. So James never taught that. Now, were they clear? Yes, they weren't clear. They weren't clear. So when they had the council, that cleared it up. And Acts 21, when he tells Paul to shave his head and all this stuff and go in the temple with those guys, it's like even there he explains again that he doesn't believe that's necessary. It's just that they're doing it to please the Jews because they don't want them to freak out. Because it's just like how he had to. Remember when he circumcised Timothy? I think it's Acts 16. He circumcised Timothy. Timothy wasn't even circumcised. He circumcised him because he didn't want the Jews to like get mad at him because he's not circumcised, right? And that was right after the council in Acts 15. So right after the council, when they just finished deciding that yes, nobody has to get circumcised anymore. Like just the next chapter, he immediately circumcises Timothy because it's all about him. He just wants to be, to the Jew I became as a Jew.
to the, he becomes to all, he became all men, he became all things to all men, so that he can win them to Christ.
Just like Peter, who also had to be corrected by Jesus, at the time wasn't as clear on justification. It's not to say he was a false teacher. Just like Peter, who also had to be corrected by Jesus when he stopped eating with the Gentiles, when the Jews came and he got up and had the meal with the Jews. So we're not saying
These guys
that
don't know. They don't know, man. They don't know. All they have is their little stupid, like they have their little proof text in their head, and they have like a basic understanding of some of these stories, some of them. And now he's trying to tell. He doesn't know this story. He doesn't understand this story.
had justification. It's not to say he was a false teacher. Just like Peter, who also had to be corrected by Jesus when he stopped eating.
He had to be corrected by Jesus. Yeah, I know it. We're not supposed to circumcise people. We're to say. Yeah, exactly.
The Gentiles, when the Jews came and he got up and had the meal with the Jews. So we're not saying that either James or Peter, any of the books that they wrote weren't inspired. That is a blatant lie. And we've never said that he was a false teacher, only that he had an incomplete understanding of justification. If you look at the chronological order of James, comparing it to the Acts 15 council and Acts 21. You also said that there's...
So this is the thing. So what they're arguing is that James is written before the Council of Jerusalem or something like that. But there's no reason to believe that. The Council of Jerusalem is early on after Christ died, right? Like, I mean, what the thing that happened to Paul was probably like, I don't know, 10 years after or something like that. There's different theories about it, right? We're not really sure, but about probably 10 years. And then he went off for like 3 years, and he came back. Then they had the council, and then, I think all the letters were written after that, after the council and stuff.
That we teach that there's no chastening and no discipline in the Christian life. That is a blatant lie, and you need to really publicly repent, because I have literally hundreds and hundreds of videos. David has written a book on discipline that I doubt you've read, and I doubt you've listened to any of his teachings. He has an entire playlist on living the Christian life, on chastening, on discipline. Literally, he has
So this is the thing. Now he's going to say, oh, we have a whole playlist, hundreds of hours, and we read his book. And obviously none of us want to read his stupid book or watch his hundreds of hours of video. But that's why when we criticize these people, we have to be on point. We have to criticize them for exactly what they said that is wrong. So that way they can't just turn around and say, oh, well, you never watched my hundreds of hours of videos. Well, watch those and get back to me.
Hundreds of videos on this. We don't teach that there's no chastening and discipline in the Christian life. But what we don't teach is what Ralph Yankee Arnold, your mentor, teaches, which is that, if you sin, if you don't go to church every Sunday when the doors are open, he's going to beat the tar out of you. That is what we teach, is that God always disciplines or chastises out of love. And it's not always because of sin. And that God's discipline.
It's not always because of sin. Why else would he discipline us? Because we're doing the righteous thing, he's going to discipline us? What are you talking about?
Doors are open, he's going to beat the tar out of you.
What's he saying? So was he saying something about chastisement before Quad? I don't remember. But anyway, now he's talking about this. So yeah, God's going to beat the tar out of you.
Hundreds and hundreds of videos. David has written a book on discipline that I doubt you've read, and I doubt you've listened to any of his teachings. He has an entire playlist on living the Christian life, on chastening, on discipline. Literally, he has hundreds of videos on this. We don't teach that there's no chastening and discipline in the Christian life. But what we don't teach is what Ralph Yankee Arnold, your mentor, teaches, which is that, if you sin, if you don't go to church every Sunday when the doors are open, he's going to beat the tar out of you. That is what we teach, is that God always
that's the thing. So that's the thing, right, Harry? Like, so they'll complain that BibleLine mischaracterized their position, right? But then they'll turn around and say this thing, like, oh, God's gonna beat the tar out of you if you don't smarten up, right? Like, so they always mischaracterize our position. And I agree that Jesse shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have said what he said. He should have been more careful. But because that's the thing, like, they always mischaracterize us. And so we have to be the ones that are always being not mischaracterizing them. So that way, when they mischaracterize us, we can say, look, you're mischaracterizing us. But right now, they're just going to say, oh, you guys did it to us. And well, we don't have to listen to you. You guys are just false accusers and stuff.
Or chastises out of love. And it's not always because of sin. And that God's discipline, he might even
they have that. There's that argument too, that the book of James is not written by James, the brother of Jesus, but written by James, the brother of John, the son of Zebedee, the one who was Jesus's close disciple. So that's another stupid argument. That's retarded. Don't listen to these people.
Other thing Yankee Arnold said, he might even take you, if you get too bad, he might even take you home early, kill you. I mean, that is pathetic that any pastor would say that, And so again,
might even take you home early. Yeah, you know what? I don't like that doctrine that much. I don't really. I mean, I would say, like, it's fair to say that it's possible. I don't think it's good to just say that would never happen because we don't know. It does seem like the stuff like Ananias and Sapphira, those type of incidents, that's something for the first century, for the apostolic era, but I could be wrong. I mean, it may be that God does take people home, but that would be for some really serious sin, very serious sin. Yeah. He reserves the right. Exactly. I agree. Because, of course, his rights are always his. He has every right to take home whoever he wants, right?
It's a blatant lie to say that any of us don't teach about about chastening or discipline. No, of course God disciplines and chastens his sons, but it's always out of love, and it's always a training. It's always a training, and not always because of sin in our lives. Of course, he prunes us, he chastises us, and of course there are consequences for our sin, temporal, earthly consequences for our sin, which all of us teach. I have thousands of videos where I always say, virtually in every video, that of course I'm not promoting sin. And you can mock and scoff and call it hyper grace.
That's true. And that's the same thing. Look, you know what? This is the thing I've been saying the whole time. I've been talking about Fuego attacking Benjamin, and even when I was talking about Jessie and those guys on Fuego's stream, I was saying this. They keep mischaracterizing David Benjamin. So what's David Benjamin going to do? He's going to come out and say, look, you guys aren't even telling my doctrine properly. You're straw manning me. And so all his listeners are going to listen to Gregg's video and say, oh yeah, look, they're straw manning us. So they're just a bunch of false teachers and we don't have to listen to them.
But that's what grace is. Go read Romans chapter 5. Grace, by its very definition, is free and hyperabounding.
Wow, dude, are you serious, Quad? That's so retarded. I can't believe they say that. That's unreal. But yeah, I have heard that they kind of say God didn't kill them. Like, what? It honestly seems like Gregg is uncomfortable with DB's teaching in some way. Yeah, it's almost like he wants to get in on the cult or something. I don't know what's up.
And you can mock and scoff and call it hyper grace or whatever, but that's what grace is. Go read Romans chapter 5. Grace, by its very definition, is free and hyperabounding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you not read the scriptures? Grace is inherently, which is the person of Jesus Christ, is inherently grace. Jesus is grace. And so we don't teach.
Once you're saved, you're always saved. I don't know this, but I'm gonna check that out.
Because you're saved, you shouldn't live the Christian life, endeavoring to live lives that are holy, righteous, and set apart that glorify God. No, I've said in thousands of videos that we should. Keyword is should, not must, but should, and that believers have different rates of growth, different growth trajectories.
Yeah, man. The kid once saved, man. I mean, I don't know too much about him, but what he said on that stream was he's the only reasonable person on the stream. Even Layman was acting all like puerile.
Race. And so we don't teach that just because you're saved, you shouldn't live the Christian life, endeavoring to live lives that are holy, righteous, and set apart that glorify God. No, I've said in thousands of videos that we should. Keyword is should, not must, but should, and that believers have different rates of growth, different growth trajectories. That some are more carnal than others, but it doesn't mean that they're not saved. And we've all taught that, of course, there are earthly temporal consequences. If I went out and robbed a bank, I'm going to get thrown in jail. I'm going to ruin my family. There's going to be all sorts of devastation and consequences. So we've never promoted sin, nor have we ever said that God doesn't chasten his children or discipline his children. That is just an outright lie. Next time, before you do a video like the one that you
that's
did,
the thing. See, now that's why he took that as channel too, because they do talk like that. They used to talk like that. And when we started putting pressure on them, there was more and more pressure was coming on them, right? About their teachings on chastisement and rewards. So they started adjusting their views. And I think that's also partly a reason why he got rid of his channel, because he knows a lot of his teachings on there are not in line with their new things.
Which I'm putting in the description box, you need to do your homework, because you really do. You're creating, this is needless dissension within the church. If anything, you should have probably come to us first.
Needless dissension within the church. Needless dissension within the church. These guys are literally teaching that James is wrong, and they're backloading on First John. The one thing that Jessie and these guys never bring up, the important thing, is the backloading on First John. It's 100% the most important thing. They never
first to find out what it is that we believe about these things, because it's obvious you haven't watched the videos or read any of David's books or read any of my community posts, because what you said here and all of these accusations can be easily disproven. There's no need.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know why BibleLine and Fuego did this stupid way of attacking these guys. I mean, even my first videos that I did about these guys, they were too much emotionalism, and so they weren't as good, right? But like, at least I was focusing on their doctrine and exactly what they're saying. I'm looking at the video, looking at what they're saying, and pointing out the mistake. That's how you get them. But they can't say anything to my video. That's why they never respond to my video. I mean, or maybe that's not why. Maybe they don't care about me. But the fact is, like, they can't respond to my video. There's some things I said that they could say, "Oh, how dare he say that?" But when I corrected them on their doctrine, I mean, I'm 100% right. And we can do it again. You know what? I'll do that. We'll do another. We'll look at some David Benjamin, Greg Jackson videos in a live.
Need to live the Christian life, you said? That is just, what does that even mean? There's no need to live the Christian life. All of us teach that the Christian life is to be lived the same way we're saved, by grace through faith. That is what the Bible teaches. For the just shall live by faith. Galatians chapter 3:11. Romans chapter 1 verse 17. Habakkuk 2:4. Hebrews 10:38. For the just are justified, saved, shall live the Christian life by faith, the same way we're saved, not by going back to commandment keeping, law keeping.
I don't know. Whatever. So dumb. Why? Like it's like they just focus on those few scriptures, like the just shall live by faith. That's not what it's talking about. It's not saying that you just live your life by faith, or what. Like, what does that even mean? Like, what are they saying? What does that mean? Yeah. And you know what? They don't deal with the other scriptures, like the scriptures like 1 Thessalonians 4:3-7, where it's literally telling us
to obey commandments. Or Jesus when he says, if you love me, obey my commandments.
It's ridiculous. And then I made another, we don't care. Oh, and you said for us to get lives because, all we do is sit on the internet and do videos and whatever. You don't know anything about us.
Right. You are saved by faith. No, actually, I do think it is kind of like a command to live your life by faith, but it's not like what they're saying, which is just like, I don't know what they're talking about. It's so weird.
For a pastor, a supposed pastor, to be accusing fellow brothers and sisters in Christ publicly of get a life and people shouldn't listen to us and making assumptions that that's all we do. No, I have a full-time job, Jessie. Unlike you, I don't get paid from tithes and offerings, which, by the way, why can't you have a full-time job? And maybe you do. I don't know. But
well, wait a minute. Yeah, he's right in the sense that that's the thing about Jesse it's so bad what he did. It's for the past week what he's been doing, because first he went on the Fuego stream. He's a paid pastor. That's his job, right? He goes on Fuego stream. It's embarrassing. It's a joke. And also, even when he's on the stream, he doesn't even say the right things. He's mischaracterizing these guys, straw manning them so that it gives them an easy way out. And then now, the same thing Gregg's saying. Like, that's the thing. So when you are a paid pastor, you have to be very careful about what you say, what you do, because he just opened himself up to this attack now. Now, what Gregg's saying, although Gregg is a heretic and everything else, what he's criticizing Jesse for is it's like his viewers are gonna definitely believe him,
regardless, that is a blatant lie. I have a full-time job and I do many other things in my life, and so does David Benjamin and Petrus and sniffing out Pharisees. But we don't need to be supported.
Yeah, right. He'd never come on this channel, bro. He was talking about me. He was like, when those guys started talking about the Hercules stuff, he just jumped right in. He was like, yeah, he's a heretic, He hates me, man. He hates me. I made a video about him, though. That's why he kind of hates me, too.
By people in our congregation to do these videos, nor do any of us ask for money. We don't have, PayPal link accounts and asking for donations and support.
I think it's good for paid pastors, but they just have to be very careful about what they say and do. Now Benjamin, now this guy's saying that he doesn't get paid. He doesn't get paid for support, so he's dissing BibleLine for doing that. Like, if you collect money for your things and for your work that you do, then you're lesser than me, according to Gregg Jackson, right? But the difference is that people that actually take the money, like whatever, Jessie and stuff, they actually spend a lot of time studying, and they actually spend a lot of time carefully shepherding a flock, whereas all you do is take 5 minutes out when you're like at the airport or dropping the kids off at skating and
things in my life. And so does David Benjamin and Petrus and sniffing out Pharisees. But we don't need to be supported by people in our congregation to do these videos, nor do any of us ask for money. We don't have, PayPal link accounts and asking for donations and support.
They don't have anything. I'm pretty sure sniffing out Pharisees ask for money. I mean, not that I think there's anything wrong with asking for money. I obviously ask for money. I don't care. I mean, okay, sniffing out Pharisees. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna share this tab. Let's see the links. He's got a PayPal link. And he'll even say in the videos, he'll literally say like, send me money and stuff like that. So I don't know what Gregg's talking about now.
Okay, we do this because we love people. We want to get the gospel out. We want people to understand to do these videos, nor do any of us ask for money. We don't have, PayPal link accounts and asking for donations.
I
ask
for money, bro. I ask for money. I don't even care because I can't get a job, man. I've been like, look, man. I went to school. I spent all my money on school, and then now I can't get a job because of free grace, and there's no free grace churches around here. So if you want money, get a job. Yeah, well, if I get a job, I'm not gonna be studying the Bible every day at 7 p.m. reading the Bible and stuff. I'm not gonna this is the thing, bro. The job is to teach the Bible. It's not a thing like you can't just do it part-time.
Okay, we do this because we love people and we want to get the gospel out. We want people to understand the simplicity of the gospel and the simplicity in terms of how God designed it for the Christian life, which is to be lived by faith and to speak out against Galatian error.
So this guy's trying to say that because he doesn't ask for money, his word on this thing is better than ours, right? But then they can't even back up their claims with scripture. They just pull out a few scriptures all out of context. They don't talk about the many, many other scriptures that we would bring up. And they won't debate. This is the thing. This is the thing, right? Like, this is why they're cowards and they're not real teachers, because they won't debate these things. He'll get humiliated in a debate. If he had to debate any of this stuff, try to pull out Romans 1:17 and say, oh, live by faith, you try to pull that out in a debate, you get clowned, dude. You clowned.
The very, very error that you teach. So, Jessie, you really, really are an embarrassment that you put this video out. And
yeah, that's true. There's some guys that could do it. I'm not saying, and there are guys that do it, and that's good for them. But I've seen that kind of thing. Like I was at a church for a couple of years with this guy, and he had a full-time job and he just did it part-time. But he never finished school, he barely even was in he never got the degree. We were at school together. He wasn't even close. But he's a pastor. He doesn't understand things. He'll say stupid things in the church, and I have to be like, hey, don't say that. That's heresy. You know what I mean? Like I have to direct message him on the Zoom call or whatever, Anyway, but that's what I mean. Like the idea of a person full-time studying the Bible and shepherding the flock is a good idea. It's a good thing. And the disciples certainly did it, and they certainly didn't criticize people for doing it. They actually advised them to do it. Timothy and Titus and all those people were full-timers, all of them, right? But Paul would often, he would work. He would do the tent making, and then he would go preach, So both are part of the church. Both type of leader can be part of the church. A person who does it full time and he gets paid by donations, or a person who works and also preaches. They're both fair.
I really wish I could talk to you to your face and tell you these things, because this is very upsetting. And to hear these false accusations that you're spewing out in this video is just,
bro, believe me, man, we're all in that place, stranger. We all have this problem, but pray on it, and hopefully God will bring you to some fellowship, and I'll pray for you as well.
Absolutely. It's beyond words. It's pathetic. It truly is pathetic. And what you need to do is you need to either document that we've said these things specifically, or you need to issue a public apology. You need to repent publicly.
The sad part about this is that Gregg is correct when he says that Jessie needs to issue a public apology. And if Jessie did that, although it would be embarrassing, it would be better for the community. It would be better for everyone's growth, and we would have more learning and more discussion. But Jessie will not do that. He will absolutely not apologize publicly, and he will ignore this video. I guarantee it. This is my prediction.
Very rarely talk about the gospel. You obviously haven't seen one of my videos. That's all I do is talk about the gospel for 7 years on YouTube. That we're charlatans, that means that we're frauds. So if I'm, not teaching the gospel and I'm a charlatan, then prove that I'm teaching either a false gospel or not teaching the gospel, when in every single video I've ever made, I share the gospel in every single solitary video.
Well, now to be fair to Jesse. Jesse wasn't talking about Gregg when he said that about how they don't share the gospel. He was talking about David, and David Benjamin does not share the gospel very often, surprisingly enough. But this guy, yeah, he says it every single video like 10 times because they're just milk. It's just milk. They never give you any meat. They don't even know what the meat of the Bible is. They don't know anything.
He also said that we don't believe there's fear of God in the Bible. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You show me one time in any of my videos or any of my posts where I say that we shouldn't fear God, which is to have a reverential awe of God. No, in fact, I teach the opposite, because that's what the Bible teaches. We should have a reverential awe of how great God is and what he's done for us.
Thanks.
Go ahead and find in any of my videos or any of David's videos where we say that James should be taken out of the Bible, or that James is a false teacher. An incomplete.
See, yeah, man. You see? You gotta be careful, man. Otherwise, now they just literally what he's saying is you lied on me. You lied on me publicly, and that is very true. What they did lie on him publicly.
Understanding of justification at the time James was written does not equate him as being a false teacher. So either you find where I've ever said that James is a false teacher or James should be taken out of the Bible, or you need to publicly repent and admit that you lied in this video that I'm attaching in the description box. And also you need to find out where either David or I or Petra or Sniffing Out Pharisees ever once said that God doesn't chasten his children and discipline his children. David, again, has written a book on it that I've read, and it's fantastic. And you should read it because you'd really learn something about how God disciplines his children, which isn't what you and Yankee Arnold teach. But take you out back behind the woodshed and beat the tar out of you.
So this is what the thing. This is the thing. They always do that. These idiots. They always do. All of them do that, right? That's a mischaracterization of what we say. So he's complaining that Jesse strawmanned him and Jesse mischaracterized him and all this stuff. But then he goes ahead and does the same exact thing to us. And it's this wicked the way he's twisting his face, mocking us like that. It's wicked, man.
Might even take you home early if you're not here every time the door's open. It's pathetic. And there's no need.
It's pathetic, guys. It's pathetic. I just made up something that you never say, and I'm saying it as if you said it, and then I'm going to call you pathetic. So dumb. So dumb.
To live the Christian life, which is what you say, when in virtually every video that I make, I talk about how we should live lives that are holy, righteous, and set apart, that glorify God as we grow the same way we're saved by grace through faith, because that's what the Bible teaches.
No, it's not what it teaches. It's absolutely not what it teaches. And the thing is, what bothers me about these guys, this is all a show. This is all a show, because they know very well. They know that if they really wanted to defend their position, they would debate us. They would publicly debate one of us, whoever it is, Yankee or BibleLine or whoever they think is the one they want to do it with. Obviously, they're not going to debate me. Probably, I mean, obviously because they'll lose, but also because they don't want to be seen with people like me, right? They don't want to associate with people like me. But if they would debate Yankee or whoever, then they would have some credibility, but they're scared. They know they'll lose.
Lied and said that we don't teach that there's a need to live the Christian life. I quoted your words, Jesse. And then as far as, knowing about what we do and how we live our lives, and that we need to get off YouTube, and all we do is we're on YouTube. That's just a baseless, groundless claim.
I know there's a lot of Yankee fans here, and I know you guys are partial to Jesse too. I personally, I have my issues with those guys. I wouldn't recommend them.
I would honestly not recommend them, but I mean, they're all right. They're all right. They're not like as bad as people like this for sure. They're probably the next best thing on YouTube. But I don't
I can walk and chew gum at the same time. I can hold down a 60-hour-a-week job, provide for my family without taking money from anybody, and share the gospel.
I know it's weird. Like, yeah, Jessie
all.
should just get over it. Okay, I made a video about you, dude. Like, just get over it, bro. Get over it. Let's get together, because yeah, him going with Fuego and them just shows like he doesn't care about truth as much as he cares about his YouTube views and stuff.
At any rate, that's all I got to say, and I just want to set the record straight.
Okay. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. 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 Studying the Bible with Mike and Pat. These other YouTubers are just so trash. Hit the thumbs up if you want to support. Go follow Mike as he follows the Lord. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. 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 You better watch out, Mike's calling out the shields. If you're not free grace, you need to sit down and chill. We're not hyper grace, you know we keep it real. Eternally secure, you know that we're sealed. We don't back low, we're not workspace heretics. Mike's not in it for the money, trying to get a lick. They out here selling their souls for a couple clicks. Becoming Freemasons so they can't just get rich. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. 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 Shout out to Mike and Pat. Check out his channel, Toronto Bible Study. Subscribe and like.